Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to end the videos, another paid request, this time for Lucas. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the 2012 film Wreck-It Ralph. Now, I remember seeing this back to the day, having some fun with it. Watch it again. It's okay. I still have some fun with it. I wouldn't say it's a favorite of mine. I would say the two things I like the most about it is one, John C. Reilly. He's a good actor, good comedic actor as the lead. I think he does a good job voicing Ralph. And the other are the video game references. There's some issues I had with it, but I'll get to that. But overall, this was a fun movie for what it needed to be. Pretty much all these characters are in these arcade machines. John C. Reilly is the villain in this video game, where he's Wreck-It Ralph, and then you have the hero that he's gonna fix it. He breaks the stuff, this other guy fixes it, and fixes Felix. He always gets the accolades, he always gets the medal, because that's part of the game, but Ralph doesn't. Instead, he just lives among bricks, and honestly seems like a really shitty life, so I can't really blame him for wanting more. Because you look at it, he doesn't even have a house. He just lies down on some bricks and puts bricks over him. Like, here's this guy that can fix everything and build all these houses in seconds. You can't do anything for this guy? What an asshole. So it makes sense why he would want more. Now, the video game references are fun. It's nice to see at times the outside perspective. We see the old school video game graphics. You see like Tin and Ryu as the place closing down. They're fighting, and then they're, hey, let's take a break, and they go to the bar, which is Tappers, which I do remember that arcade game. There's the bad guy support group, which I kind of wish we saw more of this, because you have like Zandy from Street Fighter, you got Bowser, you got one of the ghosts from Pac-Man. Like, they have some recognizable ones, and then they have some, I guess, on their own, like there's a zombie and other stuff. And I like when the support group is done. When they leave the outside, you see they're in the Pac-Man world. And as they're leaving, it's done with the Pac-Man type of graphics. Like, those references were entertaining to watch. Sonic is in it, where they're in sort of the circuit, kind of the surge protector, that type of stuff, and that's kind of like the train station, the bus station to get to all the other games. And Sonic there is warning, like, if you die outside of your own game, you die for good, you don't regenerate. And Hubert, which is a better usage of him here than Pixels, where he's pissing himself and having sex and having Josh Gad's babies. Here he's just unplugged, and he's homeless because he doesn't have a game. So he's kind of sitting there in this terminal. And Ralph wants a medal. He wants appreciation. He wants to be appreciated. So he's like, fuck it, I'm going to go get some appreciation. I at least want a medal of some sort. So he goes to another game, including Hero's Duty, which it is supposed to be like Call of Duty, but is also dealing with aliens and stuff. It's a first-person shooter. And again, that's one of the positives, is that there is some nice creativity in terms of visuals of the movie. Like, within the realm of the first-person shooter, there's a little computer screen with legs, which represents, you playing. But it's like a little robot with a computer screen as a face, and through it is the player viewing through it. as Ralph is way in over his head. Jane Lynch is the female commander there. She does a good job in this. And pretty much he screws that up, which ultimately gets him into Sugar Rush, which is a racing game with dealing with candy. And then we're pretty much there for the rest of the movie. Now, there's a part of me that kind of wishes, granted this be more for nostalgia's sake, but it was this big journey where he's going through all the arcade games. So some could be original, but some could be like, okay, there's a bit where he's got to go into Sonic's game. Although I'm sitting there going, was Sonic the Hedgehog an arcade game? I always thought it was just a console game. I never thought Sonic was an arcade game. I didn't even look that up. Was Sonic the Hedgehog ever an arcade game? I don't ever remember it being one. But in this world it is. But if like he goes into Street Fighter and he goes like all these other stuff, maybe that'd be too much for rights issues. Although they are utilizing a little bit of stuff. Let's say you see Bowser, which I'm like, was Bowser ever in an arcade game? That's the more I think about it, it's like, was some of this stuff being an arcade game? Okay, they're referenced to their video game characters, but there was a Super Mario Brothers, I think, because Mario was in Donkey Kong, and Bowser, I don't think he was in an arcade game. I know I'm looking too much into it, right? I'm looking too deep into it. That's the thing, though, is that it's kind of fun seeing this guy over his head in this more intense first-person shooter with different type of graphics and trying to figure out how to deal with it, being totally unprepared for it. Felix, his game is now out of order because it's been screwed up because the bad guy's not there, so he's on his way to figure out what happened. He meets Jane Lynch. Jane Lynch has this bad backstory where the person she loved died, and they have a little bit of love connection thing going on. That was kind of funny. That was kind of sweet, because like the Fitzy guy is so much smaller than Jane Lynch, and he's so much more upbeat compared to her, and much more cynical in nature. So that was kind of some fun bit of chemistry between those two. When it got to Sugar Rush, the movie to me was a lot less interesting. There was still some nice visual creativity. I think it was two things. Number one, I kind of wish we saw more venues throughout the arcade. Because you have all these different arcade machines. Even if you want to make them all up, there's so much more you could really get out of it. And then the most of it's just this candy-coated environment. I just felt like there's a lot of other venues that were left out of the picture that we could have really milked this whole idea of going to different arcade machines. Like, whether it be this journey where he's picked up these characters who also feel underappreciated, so maybe more and more arcade machines are being out of order. Oh my god, we need to take care of this. Oh, the whole place is going to be out of order. The whole place is going to be shut down. And we're all going to be done for. So it's this journey going from one to the other, to the other, to the other. That way you have a variety of different environments, a variety of different arcade games as a backdrop, which could also create a lot more either nostalgic references or a lot more of that nature. But when I realized, okay, the rest of the films are just going to be in this one venue, I'm like, oh, okay. I just was hoping for a bit more in terms of variety of environments. Yeah, a little bit, but you know, the Sugar Rush stuff, it is what it is, but it wasn't really my favorite environment. And in fact, the Hero's Duty one was more interesting for me than that one. Plus, that's also where you meet Sarah Silverman and this girl. Voice a little girl who's called the Glitch. who's not appreciated, who's an outcast, who the boss there, Teen Candy, wants Sarah Silverman's character to be the fuck out of the way. Later on, you find out why, and there's much more to it than that. I'm not a fan of Sarah Silverman. I am not. I think she is absolutely unfunny. I think she's one of the unfunniest comedians ever. I always thought her behavior was childish. She was annoying. She seems like an overgrown brat in real life and in movies. I never ever fucking liked her. I can see why she never got a big career in movies and stuff. Because she just has this irritating vibe to her. And shrill voice. And I do not like her character in this movie. And I think that's why I like the film, but I don't love the film, because I fucking despise her character. I get it. She's called the Glitch. She makes fun of John C. Reilly. What, hero's duty? You're in duty? Oh, you don't win? We don't win for wiping? I know people are supposed to think that she's cute. A lot of people did. I thought the opposite. I thought I want Wreck-It Ralph to wreck her face. Punch her in the face. Pile drive her face. Throw her face into some melted chocolate, melted marshmallow, melted s'mores. I wanted this character to die. So when her life is in danger, I'm like, good. Let the bad guy win. I don't care. Like John C. Reilly, despite his selfish nature, his character still felt more likable to me than Silverman's character. I don't care for her voice acting. Just did not like that character, man. And that's a big, for me personally, a detriment in my eyes to the movie. Obviously, I'm alone in that because the film was a huge hit. Got a sequel. Never saw the sequel. Because again, I liked the film, but I was never that much in love with it. So, of course, they don't like each other, but then John C. Reilly feels sorry for her, and then starts helping her, helps her against these bullies, teaches her how to drive, helps make her a candy car, because that's how these cars are made. Meanwhile, Jane Lynch and the Fix-It guy are there because John C. Reilly accidentally brought one of those bugs from Hero's Duty there, which is now multiplying and causing the big swarm like a virus. That not only is going to affect this, but it's going to affect all of the... If it gets worse, it's going to affect all of the arcade machines. I just would have preferred if it was just going to different venues and... Yeah. Because you would see, oh, now this team's out of order, now this team's out of order, now this team's out of order, and then... It'd be this developing danger on a bigger front because you see, oh my god, now they're homeless and what's going on, and maybe if they did that, they'd be the fear that the audience would dislike the main characters because you would see how it was being affected by, but then these guys don't know it yet, and that's the point, and that would make, I think, the danger more palpable. But, I mean, anyway, they did this way, so it doesn't matter. And spoiler, you're trying to find out that the glitch really isn't a glitch. In fact, she was supposed to be the star of the game, and Teen Candy's actually this other character this character named Turbo, who had gone renegade long ago, had left his game to go to another game, fucked up that game, so both games were left out of order. And people assumed that guy was dead. He wasn't. He was just in this racing game, took over, fucked over the girl, made people lose their memory on it. And then Wreck-It Ralph finds out the truth. Helps Sarah Silverman out with her race. Gets people out of there while this big swarm's happening. Does this big self-sacrifice. The girl saves him. Turbo gets fucked up. All the bugs get fucked up. Get her to win the race. Everything's back to normal and even better because now she's back to where she's supposed to be. The princess, the leader, the star of this game. I didn't really buy that the other people appreciated Ralph. I thought that was kind of shortchanged. I did John C. Reilly and his change of heart. That was done fairly well. But the Fix-It guy, there's a bit where he's in jail, and then he says some things, and then Ralph says like 2 sentences. Now please fix this because this girl needs our help. And the guy does it. But I don't really get a sense that he really felt bad for treating Ralph that way, or I'm sorry that you felt that way, or I'm sorry I couldn't, maybe we could have been friends. We could be enemies on screen, but we could be friends behind the scenes. I didn't really get a sense of that. And when he comes back, apparently the other people in that game, they're like giving him birthday cakes, or not birthday, but they're giving cakes and stuff. I'm like, where did that come from? The last time we saw, they were pissed off at him because it was out of order. Now all of a sudden, they're happy he's back and they're treating him well. I didn't feel it was a good transition. I didn't feel it was a good, proper epilogue to that bit of the story. Like, if there was a scene or two where the other characters realized, well, wait a minute, we've been treating him really badly. Look where he lives. Why would he not have left? Wouldn't you have left? I would have left. Like, there's none of that kind of development of those characters to make that ending work in a satisfying fashion for me personally. But things work out. They're back in their games. And like I said, John C. Reilly is definitely the bid plus, as well as the references, bid plus for me, where those moments where I'm lifted up and I can see her and how happy she is. And if she likes me, then how much of a bad guy can I really be? Like, it was a nice line reading. It was a nice voice performance. The music hit the right proper notes during that scene, so it didn't feel too over sentimental. The movie's not too long. It's a very colorful movie. It's a great looking movie in terms of the animation. So overall, it's, again, a fun enough movie for what it is. It's not a movie I would go back to rewatch much. It's why, again, I never bothered to see the sequel. Because it's like, whatever. Like, I would say in this era of animation, I would say I enjoyed like Zootopia more, which I think this director went on to do Zootopia. I believe. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me on that. And I would say Zootopia I liked a lot more. I thought it was a lot stronger in terms of its narrative. So like I said, the references were fun. Although, again, were Bowser and Sonic in arcade games. The animation was nicely done. The story being centered on Sarah Silverman, I get why for John C. Reilly's character and him realizing what he needs to appreciate, but at the same time, it doesn't help that I didn't like Sarah's. Maybe I didn't like Sarah Silverman's character, and her game was just not that interesting. There was a racing game made of candy. I'm like, okay, whatever. It wasn't my favorite environment for the rest of the movie to take place in. With all the different varieties of games you could pick and choose from, the sky's the limit. I'm like, okay, it's a racing game made of candy. Just wasn't that. I just wasn't that gun ho about it. I don't know how else to put it, but it was still. It was still fun. Like the bit with John C. Reilly, there's a guy who's working with the bad guys, but he's like a was it a gumdrop or something? He's something like that. It's like, if you don't tell me, I'll lick you. And he starts licking them. He's like, oh, please don't do it again. I'll tell you. And then he sticks them in like a place nearby. The guy can't move. Actually, that was, I thought, pretty funny. And props to John C. Reilly. Gave a very, very nice voice performance. So, overall, it was fun for what it needed to be. So with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.